data streamer.
Hey, GU. What's up?
So from way back in the past,
Yeah.
from for me, the first time that I noticed virtual reality or that I was aware of virtual reality was in Johnny Quest.
Oh, okay. Johnny Quest. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
It's
good one.
really old.
Yeah.
And and I think so virtual reality was seen as futuristic way to play video games, right? Or explore.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. It's. I don't know. It's like it was like video games, but also like to like kind of like this weird ass teleport you in a different world, different reality. Whoa, like this kind of like early internet style surfing the web, and they actually like show somebody on a surfboard, like that kind of visuals they had with it, like you're actually like, oh, transported to the different dimension, that kind of. It was weird. They were promoting it for games, but also for like, yeah, going to a different world and experiencing other things. That's how what I saw about it back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. But if
Yeah.
we look at the Matrix, it was another way actually to go into VR.
Yeah, Matrix is pretty much a VR isekai story. It's like you know, it's like the Sword Art Online bullshit. VR isekai. Blah, blah, but that the Matrix is basically that. They're stuck in a VR isekai where if you die in real life.
Yeah.
it's
So what? So for the
it's
listeners who don't
exactly.
know, what do you mean with isekai?
Oh yeah, that's a genre in Japanese stories, but also not even Japanese stories. I mean, as far as I know, the first isekai was Alice in Wonderland. Isekai literally means other world or foreign world. It means you're transported to a different world where things happen. And Alice in Wonderland was probably one of the first popular isekais out there. The genre has been done in the West a lot, but mostly it's had a larger resurgence in anime in the last 30 years or so. The first proper isekai anime that I saw was here in what was it, Here and There, Then and Now, or Then and Now, Here and There, something like that. Anyways,
Oh,
that
okay.
was like a very brutal war anime where these kids got teleported to another world where there's like this brutal war happening, and the girl gets teleported somewhere else and the dude somewhere else, and it's like complete.
But was it
If
also was the world also a video game?
No. Isekai wasn't video game stuff until later.
Okay, the
Yeah,
first one. So the first VR isekai, the one I have experienced or
yeah.
watched was the dot hack.
Dot hack, yeah,
Dot hack anime,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Dot
Where
hack,
they
yeah,
put on a VR headset
yeah,
and go into the video game
yeah,
to go into this MMORPG world
yeah,
and play the MMORPG.
yeah.
And yeah, that's what I experienced in Japanese anime
The first one, yeah.
regarding virtual reality. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The first time I saw anything about virtual reality, uh, uh, those kinds of things was when was actually the first time I saw it was like on the Disney Channel. They had the no, wait, no, not this channel. I mean, sorry, on the Discovery Channel. There was this show called Beyond 2000. It was like this um weekly, yeah, and Next Step, also another show. These two shows where they had like these weekly technology showcases. It was like half-hour shows. They played them back to back, and like they showed VR stuff here and there once in a while. And they had the headsets back then were massive. It was crazy, man. It was insane. It was like CRT TVs in them or whatever. Sometimes some of them. It was crazy, man. But that's the first time I saw virtual reality, and of course, the first time I saw it in media, in like movies, was in Johnny Mnemonic, where he logs into the internet to make a phone call, but he like puts on these VR headset, and it's like you see like he puts on the gloves, and you see him like his hands going back and forth like that in the virtual world, like yeah, let's go, yeah, it's hilarious. Johnny Mnemonic, by the way, is a prequel to Neuromancer, by the way. So that's pretty funny. It's the same world as Neuromancer, so that's pretty funny. Yeah, and also Johnny Quest, of course, but that was much later. Johnny Quest, of course, the 1990s reboot of Johnny Quest, where they modernized it completely from the 1960s version of Johnny Quest, which of course did not have virtual reality. But yeah,
I just love it how accurate things are with VR now. As in, it was always displayed that if you put on a VR headset, that you were like, like bending a bit down, or like trying to dodge and doing sneaky things with your hand, like.
yeah,
And you actually have to do those things in
yeah,
real life as well if you use VR.
yeah. It's actually surprising how like you said, how well they predicted that part,
Yep.
that you're using your hands in this way, and you're like navigating with your hands, and you're like moving around, like that's pretty funny. Of course, not all of them do that. Like Johnny Quest doesn't do that. Quest World is complete. It's a complete full dive VR. Full dive VR is a term that comes from the anime Sword Art Online, but it's actually a term that actually explains fairly well what that means. It's a and it's used actually in a lot of VR discussions. It's used officially, or a lot actually. Even people who don't watch anime know what a full dive VR game is, which is a term that anime invented. But Johnny Quest is a full dive VR. So that means you are completely immersed, your body and sensors, everything, and the world feels and you're it's as if you're inside the world. You don't feel the headset
Yeah.
on your head. It
Yeah.
completely replaces your sensory perception, so you feel like you're just walking around like it's a normal world. That's a full dive VR. Sword Art Online has it, of course. There's been others that did that as well, and Johnny Quest, of course. The Johnny Quest one was the first full dive VR show that I've seen. At the time, of course, the term full dive VR didn't exist. That came much later. But yeah, that's like the ultimate promise of VR: the complete immersion into the virtual world, where you don't have constraints of the real world anymore, because in current VR is completely not full dive. You feel the constraints of the real world. You feel that you're sitting in your chair or doing whatever. You feel the headset on your head. You get hot from the headset. It's hot as hell. You can't do it for
Uh,
more than like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Some people can. I've seen some people try for like. I seen like a YouTube video once. Some guy tried to spend all day inside of VR, and it's like
There's even a
it's
TED talk of this, by the way,
yeah.
of a guy who's spent a whole week
Oh
in
yeah, a
VR.
week even. Holy shit, yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's like it completely wears you out. It's insane.
Yeah,
you don't know, you feel really
but
weird after a while.
but
Yeah.
but still, it VR is. Can we state that VR is seen as the future of gaming? Or
Um,
will there for example, in Cyberpunk, that will it still people play like consoles,
I mean,
new
there are in
consoles?
Cyberpunk 2077. There are, there are machines, game machines all over the place
Oh
where
yeah,
you can play games. You can play. They actually put games in there. By the way, you can actually go to a machine and play a game. There's like Roach's game for the horse from what do you call it, from The Witcher is as a game. There's also this one racing game, I think.
what other predictions did you
Yeah.
see in Cyberpunk media about video gaming future?
Well, not much beyond that. They will be very immersive, and you will. The immersion part is the most interesting part of those kinds of games, because that's full dive, full login, that you're completely immersed in it. That's the main prediction that all of these stories have. Even in Ghost in the Shell, I mean, in Ghost in the Shell, they even have a chat room scene in one of the episodes where it's a full dive chat room where people are sitting in a chat room just talking like you're as if you're sitting next to each other, but it's like all these avatars. It's pretty much VR chat. VR chat. Pretty much that's what it is. That's what it was. What you saw in that episode of Ghost in the Shell, and uh, that it's a lot of that kind of stuff. They don't, like, for example, in Back to the Future, in part 2, when Marty McFly goes to the future, and there's at the restaurant where he often goes to, they still had the same cabinet with the game with a gun, where you shoot,
Oh,
and then
Duck Hunt. Yeah.
yeah, something like Duck Hunt, something like that. And it was pretty funny because it was like, uh, those kids didn't know how it worked. Those like whatever kids, and they were like, yeah. Then Marty's like, "Oh, I'll show you how it works." And then he's like, he like grabs the gun, and he's really good at the game. So he's like grabs the gun and starts shooting, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm cool." He was like thought he was kind of cool, and the kids were like, "Oh, what the heck? You have to use your hands? That's lame." Like, so the kids in the future, like, oh, what, this is some what? So it's like the game, the future, that they didn't show what the games they played actually were like, but that was the gag. But that gag was actually more yeah, indicative of cyberpunk, futurism than they thought, because a lot of these games you don't sit down and play with your hands. You're they're all fully immersive VR games most of the time in these
And
cyberpunk girls games.
what did in Johnny Mnemonic and Neuromancer? How did they make use of the VR?
Well, there it's pretty much just like how you surf the internet and how you surf the web. How you like do all this stuff. That's what they. So they, if you log into the, if you want to log into the net, you have to have the cybernetic augmentation to log into the net. That's the thing that happens to the main character in Neuromancer. Some deal goes wrong with some corpos or blah blah blah, and then as a punishment, they burn his synapses, that allows him to install, so that he can't install the cybernetic augmentation for the internet anymore. So he can't use the internet anymore. That's pretty much the issue in that story. Yeah, though, if you want to use the internet, you need to have this cybernetic augmentation, and then you can like log in and use the VR headset and like surf the web or whatever, communicate, place phone calls, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's how that works. In Cyberpunk 2077, it's similar as well. Also Cyberpunk 2020, because I mean, Cyberpunk 2020 pretty much just took Neuromancer and kind of made it into a game. That's why there's a lot of stuff that are similar. They use a lot of the same terms because those are terms that Neuromancer invented. So that's how that works. And they in Cyberpunk, but the interesting thing in Cyberpunk is you also have screens. Of course, in Neuromancer you also have screens, but you can surf the web in Cyberpunk just like we surf the web. Of course, it's much more limited because the main way people surf the web is through the net. It's through the internet.
Yep.
They don't call it the internet anymore because the internet got screwed up in the data crash in the Cyberpunk world. So it's now the net. But yeah, it's basically full dive. You go into the thing and you just like surf the web, go around, whatever, play games, whatever, do whatever. That's how it goes. There's like brain dance addicts that happens. Panam's parents, one of the people you meet in the game, one of the main characters that you meet in the game, her parents died from brain dance addiction. They just they just hooked up an IV to their bodies, and then they dived into the brain dance, and that's it. They just didn't come back out, and that's it. And then their body slowly deteriorated in a matter of in like a 2-3 weeks or so, and that's it. And then they died. That's how how bad it gets with that technology in that game. And I'm pretty sure it'll get that bad in real life as well, because it's pretty compelling technology.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah,
it's I can imagine that the video games are already being used as a way to escapism, right?
yeah,
Let
yeah,
alone if VR is like really
yeah, exactly.
well developed, then
I mean, look at
people
VR
will like
chat. Look at
people
VR
would
chat. Is
prefer.
Yeah. As far as I'm
I've heard
concerned,
stories, man. I heard stories that
yeah.
a friend that what that she actually didn't want to take off her VR headset
Yeah.
for a day because it was too nice in VR chat.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
this is like one of the first generations of the VR headsets there
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. It was
So
terrible. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it
Exactly.
was not terrible, but
Yeah. I mean,
it's still like if you compare it with how it is now and how it will be, you
yeah.
know?
I mean, the Deckard is coming out soon, so that's the Valve, the Steam Deckard. So that's, people are hyping that one up. I may, if it's any good, I may get it. I may get it. I mean, right now I have the Oculus Rift S. Uh, I haven't used it in a while, but still, but the Deckard is interesting, so I may get that one. But I mean, yeah, it's very compelling technology. You can completely immerse yourself in the world, and depending on the game, it's very immersive. Like
Yeah.
racing games,
Yeah.
and truck driving games, spaceship driving games. Those
Yeah.
games work the best because you're already in a seat,
Yep.
and it's insane with those games. You completely
But
feel,
also RPG,
you know,
man.
how
RPG stuff.
RPGs.
Like MMORPG, like what anime is predicting,
Yeah,
because MMORPGs are already super addictive, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
hang
It,
out with people, like slay monsters because you
yeah,
actually want to slay monsters in
yeah,
real life already, but
yeah.
now you can do it in VR.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, but the those games, I think they're further out, for, because right now it's all feels very clunky when you're walking around. You can't really walk
Yeah.
around. There's like some technologies where it's like with Ready Player One, they're like on a treadmill and they're like actually
Yeah.
running, that kind of stuff. I think that's not gonna work. If you want VR to go mainstream, the only way VR will go mainstream is if we get full dive.
And
Full
if it
dive
gets
is the
cheaper.
Well, actually, nah. Full dive, cheap doesn't, it doesn't have to be cheap. It has to be full dive, because gamers, they buy PCs and whatever, and for any price they buy it. They want to play their games. It's I mean, if you're talking about an absolute mainstream, yeah, maybe. But if you're talking about like you're having some gamers buy it, millions of gamers buy it, nah, you don't need, it doesn't have to be cheap. It has to be full dive, and full dive is the future, because right now it's games are very awkward. You can't run, and if some people get dizzy from it, so full dive,
That will be fixed. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure that will be fixed.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, so full dive will solve that stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, full dive is a hardware issue, and it's not a software issue. It's So it's gonna have to be solved on the hardware side of the things, because you can't. You need to interface with the human body in a way that kind of tricks your body that you're inside this world, you know and the only way to do that is to actually like access your body in some way, and so you're gonna have to do it through some kind of hardware. It's not gonna be easy, but I think that's the only way VR will actually take off in any kind of way, beyond the current niche that it's in. I mean, VR chat, even VR chat, you see like these people have like these full body suits and stuff that they can do complete
Yeah,
dances
man.
and whatever. That happens, but people are like converting entire rooms so that they can walk around in VR chat without bumping into stuff. I mean, that's quite a limitation. If you don't have that kind of room, you're pretty much in big trouble when it comes to VR chat. You know what I mean? If you want to do those kinds of things, full body suits, whatever movement, that kind of stuff. That's a big limitation of the technology. Sadly. So that's, yeah. So yeah, when it comes to like one of the coolest cyberpunk future promises. That's VR and full dive VR games. So that's really one of the best ones out there, and also one of the ones that is like turning into reality right now, because I mean the headsets. It's amazing actually that the headsets are now getting so small that they're becoming fairly light enough that they people can wear them for longer now. So that's pretty good.
Mhm.
That's very good.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it's gonna be a long way before we actually get the full dive, but I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, when I'm like 90 years old, I'm gonna be full diving into these VR MMOs. I'm gonna go crazy in there. And don't wake me up, whatever. you know, that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be really good. Yeah.
Dear viewer or listener, if you have any ideas on what futuristic gaming will be, or what do you think how it will be, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And on that note, please also support us by liking and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yep. See you.
Thank you for listening. Bye bye.